Hello everyone, 12 Bravo here. I wanted to give you 15 car buying tips from my own experience. I've purchased 24 cars in my 29 years of driving, so almost a car per year. I don't recommend following my path because it's a very expensive one. A lesson that I've learned, and now my car is paid off and I'm enjoying no car payments for the first time in a long time. And I recommend that you find a car that fits your lifestyle that you can live with for several years. So let's get into the first tip of car buying. Number one, buy private if you can. It's always best to buy privately for a couple of reasons. Because one, you're probably going to get a better deal. You can haggle more, right? Two, you're going to get to know the owner of the car. Like, what were they like? Or, were they racing that SRT Hellcat every chance they had? Or is it an old man who was just driving it to the golf course every weekend and took extra special care of the car? So it gives you a lot of intel on the car itself and what its life was like. So do you want something that was driven rough and hard or something that was babied? So just keep that in mind. You'll save money by buying private. Number two, don't trade in. Okay. Don't trade in your car. Sell it privately if you can. I know there's a lot of factors of this, and it sounds ick having someone come and test drive your car and all this stuff like that. And what if you owe on the car and things of that nature? There are ways to do it. I've sold cars privately in Ohio before, both times having owed on the car. And it was an easy process. Some states, like I think Florida, require you to have title in hand to sell the car. So you got to check your state laws, but in a lot of cases, you can still sell the car if you owe on it. It just takes a little more paperwork and a little more time to do it. So don't trade in your car, because what happens is the dealer is going to offer you below market value and then turn around and sell your car at market value. And then they're going to sell you a car. So they're making money on both sides of the deal. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Don't trade in your car, because dealers see it as a big red sign on your forehead that says sucker, because either you have too much money or you're not very savvy. Now, obviously, if you're worried about your safety and, by letting people test drive your car and not wanting to deal with that, then maybe it's worth it to you to lose a couple $1,000s, in some cases up to $10,000. I got offered one time $10,000 below my car's market value. It may be worth it to you to skip all the hassle, and pay that extra money to not have to sell your car like that. But if you're worried about money and you want to get all the dollars that you can, buy privately, sell privately. Okay. All right. Number three, dealer add-ons. No, just say no. Any dealer add-ons. So I recently went and looked at a car again, and they had this $24.95 package, and I said, well, I don't want that. And it was like free oil changes. They had supposedly ceramic coated the car. They put rain repellent on the windshield used by the U.S. Air Force. They sanitized the car. They deodorized the car. They protected the seats. Comes with free oil changes, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and our lifetime powertrain warranty and so forth and so on. It's all bullshit. Okay. And they wanted to charge me $24.95 for this. And I said, no, I'm not buying that. And they said, well, it comes on every car, it's every car that we sell, we put it on there. I said, no, I don't want it. And they're like, well, we can give it to you for $1,200. That's our cost on it. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm still not buying it. So just refuse to buy any dealer add-ons, because it's pure profit for the dealership. And dealerships that use these shady tactics, if manufacturers knew about it, they would be pretty upset, because they're trying to force you to buy something to buy this car. And the only thing that you should buy on a car, that you should be paying for on a car, is the car, tax, title, and licensing fees, and possibly a dealership fee. Now, a lot of dealerships will charge fees. I think in Ohio it was capped at $250. Here in Florida, it's not capped at all. So I've seen dealer fees ranging from $800 all the way up to $1,200. Unfortunately, a lot of dealers just will not move on this fee. They charge it on every car, and they will not negotiate. Now you can try and be real shrewd and negotiate. A lot of times they'll let you walk if you try and cut out that dealer fee. So just keep that in mind. I mean, try and negotiate it, see what happens. Doesn't hurt. Dealer ripoff stickers. This is number 4. Do not buy any dealer. So you'll see like the manufacturer's sticker in the car, right? It's a square thing. Sometimes dealers will try and add these stickers to the side of it that have like pinstripes, door edge guards, all the stuff that they've added to the car that they're charging way markup value on these things. So like a pinstripe that maybe they were paying Joe Schmo $10 an hour to put on, and they're going to charge you $3.95 for it. It's like, no, I don't want any of that. And even they're going to come back and try and tell you, oh, it's already on the car. It's already on the car. Well, good. Then take it off. I'm not paying that. Right. So dealer ripoff stickers, just avoid it. Don't pay it. And a lot of times, if these dealers want to play games, just walk and see what they say. They might call you after you've gotten home, or might text you or email you or whatever and say, well, we can work something out. But that's kind of one of the things that you want to do is call a dealership and talk numbers before you even show up to save yourself some time. And this goes on with number 5 is know your credit worthiness. Okay. You want to make sure that you've got all your ducks in a row. And a lot of times you'll get the best rates from like a credit union. Okay. So credit unions give really good rates, and you can shop around obviously on a site like LendingTree or whatever. Your credit's not going to take a hit for you to shop around on a car loan. Okay. And I don't know if it's a week or 2 weeks. Go ahead and Google it, but I don't know for sure. Sorry about the cat. Okay, so know your credit worthiness. That way, when you show up to the dealership, you know that, and you can go ahead and try and finance through them and see if they can get you a better deal. But if you know that you can get a loan at like 5% and they come back quoting like 7%, then you know that they're trying to pull some shady stuff. And unfortunately, dealers get kickbacks from banks for financing through them. And also, sometimes they'll pull even something shadier where they'll come back and tell you a rate. So say the bank approved you at 5%, they might tell you, oh, the bank approved you at 7%. Yeah, pretty shady, right? It does happen, and it's 100% legal. Okay, number 6, do your research, obviously. And this might, be the first step, but doing your research on the car, is it reliable? Is it going to be a good car? Is it going to last you 7 to 10 years? Because you should be keeping your cars well past, at least a few years after you paid them off to save on car payments. And you also want to research the prices to try and get an average, of what they're selling for. And heck, you might be able to fly somewhere on the cheap and save yourself $5,000 on a car and drive it back. It'll totally be worth your time if you can take the time off to do so. Maybe fly up on a weekend and take a nice car trip back, save yourself some money. So just do your research, check out a state, what's it going for, California or Florida or Texas or, New York, whatever, and kind of get an idea of what the car sells for. Number 7, the Carfax. Make sure to check the Carfax, okay? And there's a few reasons why you want to do this. A lot of dealers on their websites will have a button for a Carfax. You can check on it and click on it, and it'll tell you like where the car was sold. So that's your in-service date. Okay, so if the car has a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty, you can say, okay, so this car was, and this is a used car, was sold on May of 2022. So I have until May of 2025 with my warranty, right? And you can also see when the car was listed for sale, at that dealership, right? Dealers do not like to keep cars for more than 60 days. They've got loans out on these cars, and it's costing them money in inventory, marketing, time to let people test drive it, all of those things. So they are very motivated, especially once a car hits 60 days, they are motivated to get that car off the lot. And that's just ammunition for you to go in and negotiate a better deal. All right. Number 8, be flexible. Oh, with the Carfax on number 7, I forgot to mention, that also tells you where the car lived, right? So you might prefer a car that's lived its whole life in Florida in a more temperate climate because you believe that the car is going to last longer because it hasn't had to go through the harsh winters of Boston, for example, and has had to eat snow and sleet and salt, and all this stuff like that. So if you think that's better, then you can kind of, look on there. Oh, well, this car's was sold in Florida. It was, lived in Florida, or it's for sale in Florida, whatever. It's all up to you, whatever you prefer. Number 8, be flexible. The more flexible you are on options like colors or, the options on the car, size of the tires, things of that nature, models, stuff of that nature, the wider range of cars that are going to be available to you to buy. And the less likely you are to be laser focused on a particular car and get all emotionally involved and, get locked into a certain car, and it might cost you money because you want that exact car. Okay, it might cost you more money. Whereas you could have got another car that was like blue instead of black, for example, and it's the exact same car. It's just not the color that you love, and you can save, is it worth, 4 or 5 grand to not have the black car and have the blue car instead, for example. So that's a personal decision. So definitely up to you. But I know me, I'm kind of color agnostic as long as it isn't yellow or bright red or something like that. I'm not really minding what color it is. So obviously I have my preferences. I like blue, but hey, I don't have to have blue. So check the reviews of the dealership before you even call them. Some dealerships will pull, like I mentioned before, or if I can't remember if I mentioned before, but they'll pull shady things like the bait and switch. Well, they'll advertise a car for an internet price. You go in there and then they're like, oh, well, you got to have all these qualifications to get that internet price. And actually, I was looking at a deal where I went in for a car that was $42,900, and I got in there and they're like, oh, it's $44,900. And I'm like, why? Well, you got to trade your car in, you got to finance through us, you got to be military and a first responder and something else. And I'm like, who meets all that criteria? Just you have a picture of a car and there's a price. I shouldn't have to click on a little question mark at the bottom of it to see all of your terms and conditions in fine print to say, oh, this doesn't include, the $24.95 warranty that we want you to buy or dealer fees or anything else. That should be the out the door number, or not the out the door number, but it should be the price that they're selling you the car for. Okay. If you show up and it's a different price, they're already playing games, so think about walking. Check the reviews of the dealership, especially the bad reviews, see if you can learn anything about the dealership and what kind of games they're trying to play. Number 10, try and follow the 24-10 rule. Okay. Talking about 20% down, finance for no more than 4 years, and no more than 10% of your gross income. Okay. If you can follow that, you're going to make sure that you're not buying more car than you can afford. I know we all want to drive Mercedes and BMWs and Audis and, Teslas and things of that nature, but sometimes you just can't afford to have what you want. Okay. Now, sometimes people will prioritize things like maybe you don't go out every weekend dropping $500 drinking. So you might say, oh, well, I'll take that $500 and spend it on a car instead. People have different priorities. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just saying that that's a good rule of thumb to follow if you're trying to build wealth, if you're trying to make sure that you're not overspending in a certain category, right? So that's just a general rule of thumb. But obviously, if you want to spend more on a car, that's your prerogative, right? Negotiate, number 11. Make sure that you have, and that goes with checking the dealer reviews, checking the Carfax, seeing how long it's been on their lot, looking all over the country to see what cars are selling for, making them go to their competitors. And it's always a good idea to go to a couple dealerships in your area if you're looking at a particular car, seeing what prices, and you can go to one dealership and they might have a car that has 14,000 miles, and you can go to another dealership, they might have a car that has 7,000 miles, same model, everything, maybe different color, whatever. And you can be like, well, hey, this dealership over here, has got a car for 7,000 miles and they're selling it for $1,500 less than you're selling yours. What's up with that? You know, so you might get them to match the price of it or even go lower and beat it. So just make sure you negotiate and try and get as much ammunition. And by doing your research and by checking the Carfax, checking the dealership reviews, you're going to have as much ammunition as you need to negotiate a good deal. And that goes with looking at the out the door price. This is number 12. You want to look at the out the door price of the car. You don't want to disclose any information to the dealer, like they might ask you, well, what kind of car payment are you looking for? No, 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 no. You don't need to know that. I want to know what the out the door price is of the car with your dealership fees added on, your tax, title, and license, and that's all I should be paying right there. And what is the out the door number? Okay. And you negotiate from that out the door number. Okay. So if the car is $20,000 out the door, be like, what can we do to get this lower? I'm thinking maybe 18, and they might go, oh, yeah, we might be able to do 19.5. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I really want to pay 18. So let me think about it. And that's the thing that you should always do. Dealers will always want you to buy today, buy now, consume now. And it's very tempting. You get that serotonin kick in your head. You want to buy it now. You want to take it home. You want to enjoy your new toy. Just take your time. And this is number 14. Relax. Take your time. We skipped one. And make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Make sure that the car fits your lifestyle. Make sure you can live with it for several years. And make sure you know you're getting the best deal possible. So always, always, always sleep on it. Take your time, sleep on it, do some more research. Even if it takes you a couple of days. I had one dealer call me back 3 days later saying, hey, you still interested in the car? Oh, maybe. What are the new numbers? What do you mean new numbers? Well, I didn't like the numbers you gave me before. What are some new ones? And they came back with some new numbers and, hey, save myself some money, right? So just make sure that you're, taking your time, because it is a big decision. Car purchase is probably your second largest purchase next to your house. So it's a lot of money. You're making a big commitment over a number of years. This is something that doesn't need to be rushed and done within one day. Okay, you might take you a week. So relax. Number 13, going back one, if you're buying a used car, make sure to have it inspected. I don't care if it's certified, whatever. Make sure to take it to a mechanic and have them inspect it, look underneath it, make sure it wasn't in an accident and there wasn't no shady repairs done. Make sure it wasn't a flood car, things of that nature. $100 to $150 to a mechanic to inspect a car is cheap insurance to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible and to make sure you're not buying a lemon. Okay. And the final tip, 15, pay it off and keep it. I have my car paid off and I am enjoying no car payments, and I'm taking those car payments and I'm buying stock. I'm investing my money, and it feels good to look at my account and see like my stocks going up. I'm not planning on selling them, so I plan on keeping them until I'm old and gray, and then hopefully sell them at a profit then. So I'm not really trying to manipulate or buy low and sell high and all this stuff like that. I'm just taking that money, I'm putting it into the stock market, buying blue chip stocks. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't do what I do. This is just what I'm doing. So pay it off as quick as possible and keep that car for as long as possible, and you'll enjoy your biggest wealth building tool, which is your income. All right. So I think those are my tips. Those are my 15 tips that I had for buying a car. I hope that you enjoy your car buying process, and make sure to use all the ammunition you can to get ahead on the dealer. Don't give them any information that they don't need to know, okay? Because they hold all the cards, and you need every advantage possible to try and win and get the best deal that you can for yourself, all right? Okay, you guys stay safe out there and take care.